What's up, my cool dudes? I'm Dueling Dude, and welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck profile. I have finally gathered everything I need to bring you guys an updated deck profile on my Oafdragon Magician deck. With the release of Raging Tempest, we got a couple of new cards, but there was also a few new cards I wanted to add to the actual deck itself, so I managed to get everything I needed. So without further ado, let's get started. First of all, I run 3 copies of the Odd-Eyes Pendulum Dragon. Odd-Eyes Pendulum Dragon is basically the namesake of the deck. Its pendulum ability, well, it's got 2 pendulum abilities. One of them is you can reduce the battle damage from an attack involving a pendulum monster you control to 0. You don't really use this pendulum ability much, but it can definitely save you in tight spots if you really need it. This other pendulum ability is, during the end phase you can destroy this card, and if you do, you can add 1 pendulum monster with 1500 or less attack from your deck to your hand. Which really, there's quite a few cards, pendulum monsters with 1500 or less attack. So you can search out pretty much search out anything you need to go for future plays. You can search out Bunbukus to get Kirin next turn. You can search out missing scales. Even tuna monsters such as your Nobledragon Magician to go off some Synchro plays. And its basic monster effect is that it just deals double damage when it battles a monster. It really can add up, and there are a couple of ways you can add attack points to Odd-Eyes in this deck, so you stack up attack points with Odd-Eyes and it will do a serious amount of damage. Next up, I run 1 Odd-Eyes Mirage Dragon. With Mirage Dragon, once per turn, if a face-up, this is its pendulum ability, by the way. Once per turn, if a face-up Odd-Eyes Pendulum monster is destroyed by battle or card effect, I can destroy 1 card in my Pendulum Zone and place a face-up Odd-Eyes Pendulum monster from my extra deck into that said zone. So pretty much he can recycle Odd-Eyes from the extra deck. So let's say, what was I gonna say? Yeah, something gets destroyed by one of my Odd-Eyes on the field gets destroyed by battle. I can destroy a Mirage Dragon to put Odd-Eyes in my Pendulum Zone for next turn. Or if I've got another monster, Odd-Eyes can reduce the damage I'm going to take to 0. So it can really, it's just about recycling Odd-Eyes. After all, it is the namesake of the deck. Anyway, next up I run 3 copies of the Dragonpit Magician. Just grab him. With Dragonpit, basically he's your main high scale. Most of the time you will use this guy in your Pendulum Zone. He is a level 7, so you can Pendulum Summon him if you have another scale 8 in your Pendulum Zone, whether it's another copy of him or a Odd-Eyes Unicorn, or actually, yeah, Odd-Eyes Unicorn's about, or Skullcrobat even, but who puts Skullcrobat in the Pendulum Zone? That's just stupid. It really doesn't have that much going for it, except a high defense of 2700 and a really good pendulum ability, because if I have a Magician Pendulum monster in my other Pendulum Zone, I can discard 1 Pendulum monster to destroy 1 spell or trap on the field. So it just really just spell and trap hate. That's really it. Though I played this deck at locals yesterday. I only used it once, and that was because this was game 3. Game 1 he won. Game 2 I won. Game 3 he set 1 card. Had a really bad feeling it was a solemn warning, so I had to get rid of it before I went on any plays. But that's a story for another time. Next up I run triple of the Oafdragon Magician. With Oafdragon, he is a scale 2 pendulum, which really he's a decent low scale. You don't use this pendulum effect much. But he's just there to, every monster is in this deck is level 3 to 7, so having a scale 2 really doesn't lessen the use of the deck much. Really doesn't clog, so Oafdragon is, and you always play Oafdragon at 3 because its monster ability is, if it's normal or special summon, I can target one magician or odd eyes in my graveyard except Oafdragon Magician and add it to my hand, so if I go off on Xyz plays, I can recycle old resources. So if I make, Dark Rebellion or Castel or 101, I don't believe I play 101 anymore. No, I do not. Well, hey, where did my Dark? Wait, did 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Ah, there's my Dark Rebellion. It fell on the ground. Okay, but yeah, and if there is a magician in my other pendulum zone, I can add a face-up odd eyes or magician from my extra deck to my hand. So once again, it's just about that recycling. It really, and it can combo well with Sky Iris because I can have Dragonpit Oafdragon in my pendulum zone. I can have Wisdom Eye face-up in my extra deck. Use Sky Iris to destroy Oafdragon or to destroy Dragon Pits. No, I add Wisdom Eye from my extra deck to my hand, destroy Dragon Pit with Sky Iris, search out the odd Pendulum Dragon, place Wisdom Eye into Pendulum Scale, and search it out for another Dragon Pit. So that way you're thinning out your deck, getting more resources to go off on plays. One Wisdom Eye because you can only run one. That slows down the deck. If I could run multiple Wisdom Eye Magicians, it would be awesome. Because Wisdom Eye, it searches out any pendulum scale you need. All your magicians basically have either really low or really high scales, so you can search out really whatever you're missing. You're missing a low scale, search out Dragonpulse. So missing a high scale, search out Dragonpit. It is just really, really good. Next up, one Dragonpulse Magician. Dragonpulse it's just a scale 1, so you can get, it's just another low scale, and it's pretty much got the opposite effect to Dragonpit, where if you discard Pendulum Monster, you destroy a spell, but Dragonpulse is if you discard Pendulum Monster, you destroy a monster on the field. So it's just same but different, I guess, is the easiest way to put it. One Nobledragon Magician, because Nobledragon Magician is your tuner monster of the deck. It's your only tuner monster of the deck. You can't use it to synchro summon anything except a dragon. And I only play one non-dragon synchro monster, and there's an easy way to get that out, so I'll go over that a bit later. But when this card is used as a synchro material, unless all other synchro materials are odd eyes, this card goes to the bottom of the deck. So if I don't use an odd eyes monster with it, it goes to the bottom of the deck. But there are plenty of ways to search it back out if I need it again later, so it's nothing to worry about with that. And if he's in my hand or graveyard, I can reduce an level 7 or higher odd eyes monster's level by 3, and then special summon this guy from my graveyard. So instant level 7 synchro play right there. Meteorburst and Clearwing are the best my synchros of choice, but I will get to that later. Next up, I run one Xiangke Magician. Xiangke is your scale 3, and its pendulum ability helps you summon Raging Dragon, because once per turn I can target an Xyz monster on my field. Its rank can be treated as a level until the end of the turn, even if this card leaves the field. And it's got a pretty decent monster ability because it can target one light monster on the field and negate its effect until the end of the turn. So Dragon Buster tries to tag out, negate. Dragon Buster tries to banish, negate. It's just a really it's a really underloved card, but it really saves you when you need it. Final Magician I'm playing is one of the new Dragoncaller Magician. Dragoncaller, its pendulum ability is once per turn I can target one face-up monster on the field. It becomes a dragon type until the end of my opponent's turn. And its monster ability is I can make this card become a dragon type until the end of the turn. Monsters that were summoned using this card as a material that gain this effect. This card battles a dragon monster. This card's attack becomes double its original attack until the end of during the damage step. So with that, you actually summon. You actually summon Absolute Dragon. Absolute's gonna go up to 5600 during the damage step, and really your opponent's hopefully going to try and stop Absolute summon. Otherwise, they're taking a crap ton of damage. I do run a Performapal engine now. I'll just lay them all out. First I run 2 Pendulum Sorcerer, 1 Skullcrobat, 1 Lizardraw, and is there enough? No, there's not enough room on camera. I'll just light Pheonix and Unicorn. Just move everything up. So with Sorcerer, it's a scale 2. If a Performapal is Pendulum Summon, all Performapal monsters gain a 1000 attack until the end of the turn. But really, you use it for its monster effect more than its pendulum effect, which is when this card is special summoned, I can destroy up to 2 cards on my field, then add the same number of Performapals from my deck to my hand. Let's say I have 2 Magicians in my Pendulum Zone. I Pendulum Summon this guy. I can destroy them, search out. Most of the time, it'll be a Lizardraw and a Pheonix. Just use Lizardraw to get a +1, and then I have Pheonix there next during my opponent's turn if I were to get hit by a direct attack. Joker is just your main searcher of the deck. It searches out literally every monster in the deck, so whatever you need, Joker can provide. Is why it makes a good card. Lizardraw, basically, it's just there for draw power. If I've got a Performapal in my other Pendulum Zone, I can destroy this guy to draw a card. Usually I'll combat out with Light Pheonix, so if I have Pendulum Summon already, I'll have a Light Pheonix in my scale so I can be protected from direct attacks. Next turn, never mind, you can't do that because Pheonix actually relies you to destroy the other monster in your Pendulum Zone to use its pendulum ability, which is kind of a little bit of a disadvantage, but if you're playing a Performapal engine, this is definitely the Performapal engine you need to run. I've tested it without the Light Pheonix. Light Pheonix makes this this engine so much more consistent. Also, I forgot to mention Odd Eyes Unicorn. It's pretty much Odd Eyes Unicorn is pretty much how you power up Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon, which can lead to some damage. Because with Odd Eyes Unicorn, while this card's in the Pendulum Zone, when an Odd Eyes monster I control declares an attack, I can target one Performapal monster then the attacking monster will gain attack equal to the attack point of the Performapal. So let's say my board is Odd Eyes Pendragon. So my monsters are Odd Eyes Pendragon, Skullcrobat, Joker. Odd Eyes will gain 1800 attack points right off of that. It is a really good card. And Light Pheonix also has the Power Boost effect where you can tribute another monster. I can tribute this card to give a Performapal 1,000 more attack points. So that is why I run the Performapal engine. Next up, I still am playing the same Majespecter engine of 2 Bunbuku, 1 Kirin. Nothing's really changed with this engine. It's just same old standard engine. If I had another Bunbuku, I'd definitely bump it up to 3. and probably take out one of the Aether, the Evil Empowering Dragon. This guy is good, but he is a bit cloggy because he's only a 4 scale, which really does limit you if you have to use him in your pendulum zones. Because when this guy is normal special, but his monster effect is really good because when it's normal special summon, I can target a monster on the field and banish it, so I can banish my opponent's problematic monsters, which is unless they can't be targeted, but then you just banish their problematic cards, so not that bad. Next up, I run 3 copies of, for spells now, I run 3 copies of Sky Iris, accompanied by 3 copies of Terraforming with Sky Iris, Magician, Performapal, and all those cards in my pendulum zones can't be targeted by opponent's card effects. And once per turn, I can target 1 card on my field, face-up card on my field, destroy it, and then add an odd-eyes card from my deck to my hand, whether that be Pendragon, Unicorn, Light Pheonix, or even Odd-Eyes Fusion to go off on further play. So that's why I run these, and it's just a standard field spell for Odd-Eyes. You need to run 3 Sky Iris. It is just too good not to run any less. Next up, I run 2 copies of the Odd-Eyes Fusion. With Odd-Eyes Fusion, I can fusion summon a dragon type monster from my extra deck by using monsters on my side of the field or hand as fusion materials. And also, if my opponent controls 2 or more monsters, I can use monsters up to 2 Odd-Eyes monsters in my extra deck as well. So really, I'll always play, if my opponent's got more at least 2 monsters on the field, I will always play this. Though I do run Starving Venom in this deck, but you can that's just situational. I probably would take this down to 1 again, but I'm just trialing it at 2 at the moment. Sure, I'll stay at 2 when Zark comes out, because let's face it, Zark is going to be one of the best cards in the game. Until Link monsters come out, which then, yeah. Okay, next I run 1 Pendulum Call. Pendulum Call, I can discard a card, add 2 Magician Pendulum monsters with different names from my deck to my hand, and until the end of my opponent's turn. After this card resolves, Magician cards in my Pendulum Zone cannot be destroyed by card effect. So they can't be blown up by Sky Iris to search. So you really do have to be careful when you use this card. And I can't activate it if I've already used a Pendulum monster, a Magician's Pendulum effect. So I've already used Dragonpit Magician's effect. I can't activate this. So you can activate Pendulum effects after you play Pendulum Call, which is really good. So probably your best bet is probably to play Pendulum Call first, then go off on your plays. Next up for hand consistency, I run 1 Igknight Reload. This deck can block sometimes, especially with the high number of monsters with and all the copies you're running. You can, most of the time you'll get incompatible scales, or you'll get too many of one card and not what you need to go off on your plays. Igknight Reload is just a way to kind of reset your hand. So with Igknight Reload, I reveal any number of pendulum monsters in my hand, shuffle them back into the deck, and then draw that many cards +1. It's not Guy explained this to me at locals. It's not a +1, it's just a +0. It's a fresh start, it's a reset. It's pretty much that emergency reset button if you need it. Next up, the last 2 spells I play are 2 MSTs just for back row hate. And finally for traps, I play 2 Royal Decree because you do want to get your combos off without being disturbed. Okay, now I'll move on to extra deck. I run 2 Odd-Eyes Vortex Dragon. With Vortex Dragon, when it's special summoned, I can target a face-up attack position monster my opponent controls. and return it to the hand. And during either player's turn, I can, when a spell or trap, when an opponent's monster spell or trap, monster effect spell or spell or trap card is activated, I can shuffle a face-up Pendulum monster from my extra deck into my main deck and negate the activation and destroy it. Unfortunately, it is a once per turn effect. It would be busted if it wasn't. One Starving Venom. Starving Venom is basically ran because, well, he is he's 2800 beta, but he can only be fusion summoned with dark monsters on the field, not tokens. If Super Polymerization comes back, this card will see so much play. But when it's fusion summoned, this card can gain attack equal to the attack of a monster my opponent controls. So pretty much, and it's also got a takeover-like effect where it can target a level 5 or higher special summon monster my opponent controls and copy its name and effect. So it's got that takeover effect, which is really good. I can take over lots of problematic cards, like I can take over my opponent's Dragon Buster, force them to tag it out by threatening to banish their Dragon Buster, or even just banishing their back row, because let's face it, back row is not fun to deal with. And also, if this fusion summon monster is destroyed, I can destroy all special summon monsters my opponent controls, which really, that can save you. I had a situation at locals yesterday where I could have, if I had summoned Starving Venom, they would have had to think twice about how they would have to think about how they would have got rid of it, otherwise they would have lost their whole field. Unfortunately, they killed me before I could get it out. Anyway, for Synchros, I run 2 Odd-Eyes Meteorburst Dragon. This is the best Synchro monster in the deck. When it is special summoned, I can target 1 card in my Pendulum Zone special summon. Also, this card can not attack for the rest of the turn. And also, my opponent's monsters can't activate effects during the battle phase, which is really good. So that can stop Dragon Buster tagging out, or banishing during the battle phase, which is really, really good. So this is a prime Dragon Buster target right here. They do not like having a Meteorburst Dragon on board. Next up, I run 1 Clearwing Synchro Dragon. It's got I barely go into it, but it does have but there are those situations when your opponent does have level 5 or higher monsters that use their effects. And when a monster, and if it'll negate an effect of a level 5 or higher monster and destroy it, then it'll gain attack points. He puts it at level 5 or higher monster. And if a monster effect targets one level 5 or higher monster, I can negate the activation and destroy it. I can use both those effects once per turn. So it's just a way to get over problematic cards. That's all it is. Final Synchro monster I run is 1 copy of Nirvana High Paladin. Now, with Nobledragon Magician, you can only Synchro summon dragon monsters with this, but that is no problem with Paladin, because Paladin's got an ability where you can use a Pendulum monster as a tuner monster. So let's say I end up Pendulum summoning, for example, I Pendulum summon Wisdom Eye, I Pendulum summon Dragonpulse and Nobledragon. Right then I would Synchro with these 2. Nobledragon will go to bottom of the deck. I'll bring out the Meteorburst Dragon. If I choose to, I can use Actually, no, you need 2 level 3s, that's right. Meteorburst Dragon's effect will special summon something from the Pendulum Zone. And then because of Nirvana High Paladin, you'll be able to Synchro summon right up into your level 10 Nirvana right then and there. And if it's summoned using a Pendulum monster treated as a tuner, I can target 1 card in my graveyard, add it to my hand, and if this guy destroys when this guy destroys an opponent's monster by battle, he halves your opponent's life points. So straight away your opponent's probably losing a bit of damage from Nirvana anyway, but straight after they lose half their remaining. So it is just incredibly awesome, and when it's destroyed it goes right back into your, it can go into your Pendulum Zone where it's a scale 8 and its Pendulum ability can take over, which is, if this Pendulum monsters Pendulum monsters I control, cannot be destroyed by battle, and I take no damage. And at the end of the damage step, if a Pendulum monster attacked an opponent's monster, the attack of that opponent's monster is cut down by the same amount of monster items. So let's say my opponent has what? Obelisk. Obelisk is a bad example because it can't be targeted. Let's say, for example, my opponent has what's a Cyber End Dragon, for example. Let's just use that. So with Cyber End Dragon, it's got the 4,000 attack points, which rarely any of these cards can beat over. But if you use Nirvana High Paladin's ability and combo with several other cards, you can reduce Cyber End Dragon's attack points down really low, and then attack over it to finish it off. Okay, and next up for the XCs, I run 1 Dark Rebellion for rank 4's Dark Rebellion, Trapeze Magician, and Castel. Really don't need to explain anything with these 3. And then for rank 6's, I still run the 1 number 39 Utopia Beyond. Because Beyond it's just that other OTK engine which this deck is all about. Next up for rank 7's, I run 2 Absolute Dragon. Absolute Dragon just is awesome. It's got that Utopia effect where it can detach to negate an attack, but that is only once per turn. But its upper effect is when I negate an attack, I can special summon an odd-eyes monster from my hand or graveyard, so I can special summon. So let's say I detach to negate an attack, I special summon that odd-eyes from my graveyard, and then I'll have another monster to defend my life points with. Or if that's my opponent's only attack, I can combo with Xiangke Magician to summon the new boss monster, deck Odd-Eyes Raging Dragon. Now, Raging Dragon is so good. I cannot say that enough. It is pretty much your one card. If you get this out and your opponent can't stop it, you pretty much won the game. Because if he's summoned using an Xyz monster as an Xyz material, which is what Xiangke Magician here allows you to do, you can detach one Xyz material, destroy as many cards as possible on your opponent's field, and then this guy will gain 200 attack points for each. Also, he can attack twice per battle phase if you use an Xyz monster to summon him. So really getting those plays off. Getting this guy out when your opponent's got a big board is just so satisfying when they can't stop you and you destroy everything they love and wasted precious resources trying to get. It's just really it just pushes the game. It is too good not to run. And then 1 number 11 Big Eye, because Big Eye, one thing you can do with the deck is, if you've got a Xiangke Magician in your Pendulum Scale and a Dragon something... Oh, dang. Okay, I just hit my camera, not good. Okay, if you've got a Xiangke in your Pendulum Scale and a Dragoncaller and an MST in your hand, or some form of back row removal, you can use summon number 11 Big Eye. Actually, even then, you just summon, you can summon Dragoncaller, even just saves it. Ah, dang it, I don't know what I'm talking about. But Big Eye just lets you take your opponent's problematic monsters for yourself, so you can have free reign over them, controlling their best monsters until it gets destroyed. Because let's face it, no one wants to take out one of the cards they spent their entire most of their time trying to summon. Okay guys, this is the end of the video. If you guys enjoyed this video, could you please show your appreciation by smashing that like button down below, and I will catch you guys next